Hi everyone, this is Gavin from Gavin's Gadgets. This is the front camera, video camera of the Note 9. This is the exynos version. All the reviews that came out in the beginning were for the Snapdragon 845, and that wasn't really helpful because if you lived outside of the US, how did you know how good the exynos edition is? Anyway, this is my review. It's going to fly through with 20 tips as I'm going along. Now, as it's quite windy where I am, I've had to use a Rode mic, video mic, just a cheap one that plugs into the headphone socket, and that is one really useful thing, having a headphone socket. Anyway, I'm going to go through, going to talk through all the tips and tricks. Right, so I did mention when I did my case review singly, I would report back on how I'm finding these. If you don't need a kickstand, the OG monitor is fine. If you do need a kickstand, I think the Samsung does it better because this kickstand is more seems stronger. You can have it that way, equally rests the same angle because it's in the center. What it fails to have is a big enough cutout here, and I've had to drill that bigger so it can fit a connection. So normally it would only fit a size like so, but I've made it bigger so I can plug in something bigger like so into it. Or if you've got the video mic, then that will work after I've done the thing. But it was quite easy to make that bigger, but it's a shame because it's not smooth and as nice. The Tough Armor Spiegum has a much bigger hole for your headphones, so that works fine. But the kickstand's tiny, feels a bit more flimsier, feels like it could break off, but it probably won't. It is a fraction, a couple of millimeters wider when you're holding it, but they're all good cases. Going back to the phone, some of the lovely features of this phone is obviously you have the always on display, and that is absolutely fantastic. You have a nice fingerprint scanner which I can reach just about. Bixby, I would say with Bixby, it's I would uninstall it personally, just have it as Google Assistant. But if you do press and hold it, it can get to the menus. It's good to activate processes or menus or commands where there was a specific setting or menu, and it's sometimes quicker to do that. What you also see, you can set up on the home screen, you can have dual apps, and as this display is so big and the display is fantastic, because everything starts by looking at the display, you can't go wrong there. So what else is particularly good? I'll show you the camera options in a minute. You've got lots and lots of different options. Now, obviously I've had to turn Wi-Fi off because I don't want to be disturbed with notifications, but if you hit Wi-Fi Advanced, you've got secure Wi-Fi, and you get 250 megabytes of secure Wi-Fi every month automatically. So if you're in the cafe, something like that, that's a useful tip to know about. What you can also do under sounds and notifications, you can go all the way through. There's lots of different options here, and you can have different, because it's a dual SIM, you can put, if you had two SIM cards in, you could change the SIM and have different ringtones for each SIM. At the very bottom you've got the sound quality and effects, and when you plug headphones in you get access to the UHQ upscaler. That has two options. It can upscale and then also change the bandwidth so it's even higher. Tube Amp Pro, Concert Hall, really nice, and for every pair of headphones run the Adapt Sound and have a custom profile. You can have full graphic or just bass and treble, and Dolby Atmos is like so. If you've got a pair of Sennheiser HD 598s which are 50 ohms, that's about as high as you can take this. 50-60 ohms max in terms of driving. Headphone socket's got very high quality sound, by the way. I do love it, and the Bluetooth quality on this is fantastic. You can run two different Bluetooth devices at the same time. That's pretty neat. You've got loads and loads of different themes as well. You can change the zoom, and there's everything. This is Quad HD display. You can have edge panels, so with the lighting when that's on, so replaces regular notification pop-ups, so I get this nice light that goes on. I quite like that. And you can have basic style as well, and you can choose which apps do that notification, and it works very, very well. And if you click there, you can have some options on the quick reply. You've got edge panels, so if I just come out of this, edge panels, so here you can have everything from ruler, weather. Let's go back to that one. So here you've got a ruler, surface level, as you can see, torch, tally counter, compass. That's quite useful. And you've got loads of other different toggles depending on how you set that up. So again, there's some lovely options there. I'm trying to do this quickly so I can get to the camera. On the S Pen, if you manage S Pen and S Pen remote, there's 3 dots here. That's how you reset it to put a different colour in. As you can see, this is a yellow, sorry, maybe you couldn't see, but this was a yellow S Pen. It does come with black, and I've changed it to yellow. If you do go here, and if you want to change the colour of the text, here you can do that in screen off memo within the S Pen, and you can change the signature colour. So if you've got a yellow S Pen, it does show yellow text. And there are loads of different shortcuts which you can customise the options that you want it to do when you fire up the S Pen, and you've got all other bits and pieces. So very useful, very, very handy. Games, it's got a special thing for games to show that separately. It's got one-handed mode, it's got finger gestures. No, that's not putting 2 fingers up, but you can have finger gestures to bring down the notification panel. I don't need that. Quick launch camera by double pressing the power button. Options for multi-window, and you can do some very quick actions here for various bits and pieces. Dual messenger, so if you tap on that, and you can have WhatsApp, Facebook, Skype, Telegram and Messenger, and you can have select separate contacts for second apps as well. That's quite good. The video enhancer makes videos better, and you can see that all these apps work really well with it because they come up automatically. If you've got a screen protector or you're wearing gloves, you can increase the touch sensitivity, so that is quite nice. On the device maintenance, you can change the performance mode, device security, but what I want to do is actually go into storage and show you that out of the 512 gigabytes, I've used 194. I've got a 256 gig card, Evo 3 Samsung card in there as well, so plenty of space, but I'll probably use up quite quickly. Something that Dave asked as a request, wanted to know what I had in each of the folders, so I'll just quickly show you in the shopping folder. In my travel, I've got all the travel apps that I need, from flying, weather, that sort of stuff. Production, which is more office related. I've put to sleep all the Microsoft apps that come with it. Some tools, stuff that I hardly access, apart from the file manager. These are all the, I do recommend Adobe Lightroom, it's very, very good, and Power Director is fantastic for editing videos on here. Your various media, bits and pieces, Pocket Cast is really nice. Devices, this is where anything that's a device that's been controlled by the station security, smartwatch, trackers, headphones, all from here. And then you have your main apps, there's even more apps in there, and all your social media and mail and messaging. I do use the Samsung Mail apps, and that is very, very good. Now what I will show you is, which is really neat, is the voice recorder. So one of the options here, you've got standard, interview, but you also have speech to text, and this can do convert up to 10 minutes of speech into text. It works very, very well. The other thing in settings, you can change the recording level, and it's worth noting that you can do that, and the other options you saw there as well. You can do Wi-Fi calling on this, that works very well. And you'll notice the toggles here. If you tap on the thing here, you can change the button grid, and you can have 3x3, 4x3 or 5x3. You've got the options there, and you can see there's quite a few things that you can control quickly by the quick toggles. That works particularly well. So with games, you have lots and lots of options, but if you put activate game launcher, all your games appear within this folder, and that's particularly good. And what you can then do, you can add a game, sort games, and you go into settings, and there's more information there on settings. But you also have game performance, so you can, for each game, you can actually select how you want the game to run. So you can have on these here, they all have focus on performance, but you can change that yourself to whatever you want to do. Now what you can do is when you're playing a particular game, so let me just find something. And what you have here, you have this little icon here which is smart swipe screen to unlock. So it's actually locked the screen, you can't get access to it. And then what you also have down the bottom here is all the game tools. So I just want to turn around because this game is actually running portrait. And on here you can go full screen, no alerts during game, block game, additional features. And here you can do pop-up panel, floating, auto screen lock. And you can here take screenshot and record. Now if I just tap on that, on the recording the videos within here, you can change how it all works as well. So use record audio from the game or just external microphone, the different qualities, bit rate. So it's just worth playing around the different settings because it does have a lot of options that are hidden away the more you explore this particular option. We'll just do the camera. Let's keep it this way up. So again, depending on which mode you're in, you get different options. If you tap video here, you'll get the different options. Scene optimizer is something which I'll show you some of the benefits, but these are some of the different modes. I think it's a very subtle approach Samsung have taken, and it works very, very well. But what you can do when you pick picture, you can select to have save raw and JPEG. This only happens when you're in Pro mode, and it's worth noticing that that is how you get to that. Within video, again, there's high efficiency video is only available within the settings there. Again, it's worth doing that. If you want the front camera, settings, you click front camera to switch it around, hit settings, and you'll see all the options are there for that. And you have, if I just go back, something that you need to turn on, and you go down here, face shape correction. That does make a difference as well. Flaw detection, so if someone blinks or the shot's blurry, it tells you as well. Video grid lines, you want that on, and so forth. And you've got a voice control. You want to have a floating camera button if it makes it easier for you. But here you have all the different modes. But what we want to do is put the slow motion. I'm personally going to move that up because super slow motion the quality is pretty poor. And I'm going to bring Pro down to there. And so now when we go back, you can see how slow motion is there, and so forth. So let's see what the camera can do. Remember, we had front video footage from the beginning. I'm going to show you some rear video footage as well, and there's about 50 photos to look through. Then I'm going to give you compare them to other phones like the OnePlus 6 and Pixel 2, and we'll conclude and ask the questions as we go along. hope you enjoyed the camera showcase with some analysis on the photos. This is the rear camera. We're at 60 frames per second at 1080p. So what's my overall verdict when we're talking about cameras? Well, I think the cameras on the Note 9 are better at taking video and taking photos than the S9 Plus. Now clearly if the hardware is the same, then there's software optimization going on, but don't forget this particular Note 9 does have 8GB of RAM, but I still think it's all down to the software that is making this and the optimizations that Samsung have done. I can only hope they bring them to the S9 and the S9 Plus, because it will make a difference to the end result. You've seen or listened and watched my review, going through all my tips and tricks as well, so I hope you've enjoyed that. So how does this camera compare to things like the OnePlus 6, the iPhone 10, or those sort of things? Well, overall, as a complete package, I think this is the ultimate phone to have when it comes to cameras. Yes, there are one-trick ponies like the Huawei P20 Pro, and actually that's not fair. The Huawei P20 Pro, when it comes to the rear photography, is much better than, say, the Note 9. But in some instances it's pretty close. But where the Note 9 excels is video, and the Huawei P20 Pro isn't as good at all for video. So yes, there are obviously phones like the Pixel 2 or the OnePlus 6 that can take a range of types of shots, or in certain particular modes where they excel. The Pixel 2 is great at front selfies and generally does take a good shot on auto. So for some people that's a very good choice of phone. But what you have here is a phone from Samsung, the Note 9, that it doesn't matter what you take, it doesn't matter what you do, whether it's video or photos, you will get a good shot. And obviously you have the S Pen as the Bluetooth remote control, which is pretty nice. What do I think overall about this phone compared to everything else that's on the market currently? I think this is the phone to beat. I really do. You know, some might say, oh, the OnePlus 6 is good enough. Yes, it might be, because if you only need those particular features and that's all you need, then it is good enough. But there isn't a single phone that has everything from waterproofing, great cameras. Don't forget, this screen is the best screen on the market, so every time you look at your phone, you're looking at the best screen on the market, and everything looks fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It's got good speakers, the spec sheet is off the charts. This phone is unbelievable, and I think Samsung have done really, really well. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm very happy to answer any questions that you might have. I answer them all. If you check all my videos, I do answer them all. This is Gavin from Gavin's Gadgets. Keep well, keep knickers on, and catch you guys soon.